So sometimes terrible things happen. And unfortunately, a terrible thing happened to me a couple months ago. You'll notice that I stopped posting videos. That is because I hit a nail and essentially totaled the motorcycle. We're still going to try and fix it because, you have kind of a sentimental attachment to your first bike. But you can kind of see some of the damage right in here. The crash bars did what they were supposed to do. Unfortunately, they did a lot of things they weren't supposed to do. And I noticed when I bought the bike, the crash bars were kind of mounted in a precarious manner. For instance, you can see how they kind of go into the frame right here. Well, it cracked the frame, and all the concussive force of the bike cracked the engine. Now, this is just the top half of the engine. This is what they would call the cylinder head. Now, you can buy these on eBay for about, $100 to $200. I had one that was supposed to come. I bought it for like $150. And UPS lost it, and then they refunded me eventually after screaming between eBay and UPS. I'm sorry, actually UPS never refunded me. They refunded the seller who didn't refund me, and then eBay refunded me because the seller just pretended that I didn't exist. Anyway, fun problems with eBay. What I'm gonna do is this gives me another opportunity to basically drop the engine and open up the engine as much as I really don't want to do that. It gives me a good opportunity to do that. Now, on this side of the bike, you'll notice that it pretty severely, put a good crack in there. You can see the side of the engine wall right there. Now, there's nothing important on this side. I say nothing important. The timing chain is on this side. Now, if you know anything about R6 engines, you know that means that this part of the engine is actually pretty sparse in terms of important internal components. Now, obviously, there are quotations around the important part. Everything's important in an engine that all does something. But this gives us a chance to get rid of these dumb things, which I've hated since I bought the bike, but they're such a pain to take off. And I just didn't want to, but we're gonna do it now, I guess, aren't we? So, what happened, you're probably wondering what happened. I was running along, and I was coming out of the place where I live, and you have to make a right turn onto a main road right out of the driveway. So I come out of the driveway, and I take my right turn onto the main road. And I immediately, in the right turn, I felt a loss of traction in the rear tire. Now, somebody's probably going to say, oh, you might have accidentally tapped the rear brake. Nope, pretty sure I didn't do that. What I later found was that there was a nail in my tire. That'll do it. I'm not sure that that's what did it, but it'll certainly do it. So that's what I'm contributing to it. It was a cold day. There was ice on the road. It could have been a patch of ice. It could have been, maybe I leaned a little too far. I don't think I did. I'm a fairly experienced rider, but again, it could be that as well. So you really just don't know. Unfortunately, that would be what most companies would consider totaled. I am cheap and lazy, so I only had liability insurance on it, so the insurance will not be fixing this whatsoever. But yeah, it kind of sucks. My entire, when I wiped out, the entire bike rolled end over end over end. Flipped 3 times. I was on the bike for 2 of those flips, and I don't remember the third, but somebody told me that I did in fact flip a 3rd time. I did have a pretty bad concussion. That's why you wear a helmet. My helmet was actually pretty unmarred in terms of damage. I had pretty horrible road rash. I wasn't wearing the right equipment because I'm young and stupid. But the tank made it out with like very minor dents and bruises and scuff marks. There's just almost nothing wrong with it considering it rolled and flipped. Both the mirrors are gone. The headlights perfectly fine, didn't get cracked or anything like that. The gauge case is fine. My frickin' phone was in the RAM mount. You'll see how it, it completely rotated, but it was still in there and it did perfectly fine. You can see all this crap on here. I don't know what that's from. Maybe that's my head hitting the handlebars. I don't really know, but a lot of it's perfectly fine. So we're gonna salvage it as best we can, and see what we can do with it. I think we're gonna leave the paint the way it is. It's really not noticeable unless you're really looking at it. And we'll remove the crash bars anyway. I've wanted to take those off. This provides me, with a really good opportunity to do just that. But this also gives you an excellent opportunity to explore why you should wear a proper leather jacket. I didn't have a leather jacket. In fact, I was wearing this little flannel thing right here that I'm wearing now. And surprisingly, it was completely unscathed, but my entire back was covered in horrifying road rash. None of my family or I could figure out how that managed to happen. Who knows? But interesting stuff. There's no real leaks other than that portion from the engine. I've looked at different top-end exchanges for replacing, the top ends. Sorry, that's a slang term. The cylinder head for an R6 engine, and they're not terribly in-depth. They're not terribly comprehensive. Is I think a good term I could use. But I fully intend to do it, or at least attempt it. It doesn't seem too challenging. It's a fun winter project. It's nice and cold outside now, so yeah. Wrecked it just in time for. Oh, yeah, I didn't notice that. Look at that. Uh-oh. Oh, we're gonna have to figure out some sort of way to fix that. That's unfortunate. So yeah, there's some problems with it. I had to tow it home, because it was leaking frickin' oil. But we can redo our bearings in the rear and front wheels. Honestly, that could have been what caused the crash. I knew there was a bearing that was about to go bad if it wasn't bad in the rear. We'll put some new handlebar levers on. Only the clutch survived. You'll notice the brake lever's gone. I didn't really notice that discoloration either. Haven't turned it on since then, so we might need a new gauge cluster too. Who knows? We're gonna see if we can fix it up and get it to work. We'll bring it back. I'm fully intent on keeping it for as long as I live. It's my first bike. I bought it completely destroyed, and I fixed it up to what it is now, and its glory in all its glory. So we'll see. It's been about a month. Oh God, it's been about 2 months. Time flies, doesn't it? That happened November the 28th, and we're gonna try and fix it on up and get it back and running. In the meantime, if that can't happen, I'll still keep it and work on it bit by bit, piece by piece here and there. It gives me a good, excellent opportunity to tear things apart and see how things work. It's really nice. If you have an old, hunk of junk like this thing, and you can do that, I highly recommend it. It's a tremendous learning experience. But if we can't get that, it would be time to buy a Harley. So, been trying to get an excuse to buy one of those for a long time. My family will be pissed, but that's all right. Oh, good Lord. Wear your helmet and wear a proper leather jacket with pads. Believe me, I really wish I had. It's 2 months later and I'm still suffering effects from a concussion. It was a pretty bad concussion. Apparently I was multiple feet in the air too, as a motorist told me later. He's like, yeah man, you were like 4 feet off the ground. And I remember going, God, I don't remember that. So, it happens. And it won't give you any warning. Yep. All right, well, stay tuned. We're going to try and get a motor for it. Be safe out there. Thanks for watching.